Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Taco Imposters for Friday, November 3rd, 2023. I thought I already recorded the next episode, but I can't find it on the SD card of the Zoom H1N. So I'm like, well, I guess not. I guess not. I don't know, I guess not. Yeah, it was dumb, but okay. It turns actually down a little, up a little. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, whatever. I mean, who cares, but whatever. So I mean, I guess I'm just trying to see the level. Sorry here. So yeah. Okay, turn down. Hello. Hello. So yeah. I don't know. So sorry. So yeah. I don't know what happened there. If you know how to find old episodes, that would be nice. Because then I could just put them in order and just all I have to do is rearrange the order. The episode number and then when it was published, and it'd be easy. But anyway. Ow. My knees pop multiple times a day, and it's really bad. Although, I've heard that that's actually not necessarily a sign of anything bad. So, not necessarily a sign of anything bad. It's not necessarily the same thing as cracking your knuckles. So it's not like the nitrogen bubbles popping. But it's not necessarily something you should worry about. Popping and creaking and cracking. So, I don't know. That's what I've heard. I haven't actually talked to a doctor about it. I've heard from medical professionals who are like, yeah, no, it's fine. But I haven't talked to my doctor directly, so. But yeah. You know? Whatever. So yeah. I don't know. Anyway. I was talking to my friend last night, and we were talking about our young adults I don't know if you call it a rally, whatever it's called. Meetup, conference, whatever. It's not really a conference, more like a rally, whatever. And I was just saying it was two things, okay? One, it was why are there people that just sit there and do nothing? Why are there people who have community stop? Why community why are there people who are not being talked to at all? Me included. Now, I did I did stipulate. I was like, okay, well, I did make a stipulation. I did start with well, I know that some of this is on the people, on me. I could walk up to people. Because he asked me, okay, well, what happens with those people? What do they do? What are those people who don't really get very much talked to? What do they do? And it's like, oh, they just stand around, or they walk around the whole entire room. Because we do it in a basement of a church, and there are tables set up. They'll either sit in their own table, or they'll either sit in their own table, or they'll just walk around. Now, they're not doing the thing where they're trying to avoid people necessarily. I mean, I do that sometimes, but it's that thing where they're just kind of naturally walking around. Sorry, they're just naturally walking around, and so because they're actually walking around, they're just kind of waiting for someone to say something to them. It's just they probably have the same attitude I do, where it's what the heck, man? Why is nobody talking to me? Why is this? My mother has made the point though too that I didn't make when I was talking to my friend last night. It's okay, stop. You look. My mother made the point. You look so unapproachable, and I'm just no, fair enough. I did that. My brother has at certain points looked very unapproachable. So it's maybe they just don't want to approach you. I don't know, approach me. And I was fine, maybe that's a reasonable argument. No, but seriously, that is a reasonable argument. But yeah, what were they gonna say? Yeah, so that is a reasonable argument. But whatever. How do you fix that problem? You've got to actually actively go out and seek it. That's a problem, and that's a problem you have to probably talk up to. Because he asked me, did you talk to the person in charge? And I was like, no. Actually, I know that person fairly well, so it's No, I haven't, because also I was naturally watching and just like, and now I've come to the point where it's like, okay, no, I've been to like whatever it is, 17 of these, 16 of these, whatever they are, 18 of these, right? And it's right, and it's just like, right, and it's still the same thing. It's like, what the heck? This is stupid. No, because it was promising at the beginning when the guy in charge was walking around to every table meeting people. But the problem also there is like, does he do that with every single time? Like, does he do that with every single? No, you gotta turn that up. Sorry, or up. Sorry. Does it? Does he do that with every single person? Right? And every single time, and like have to meet everybody. As I said, it's fairly impossible to like fully meet everyone. Because I said, what's your definition of? Yeah, yeah. What's your definition of like community? What is it, like meeting everybody, everybody knowing everybody? Because I said that's virtually impossible, and he's like, yeah, no. He's like, I don't know what a like good or like a good solid definition of community would be though. Like a like oh that's like so. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that would mean or what it would look like or what it is. I'm just kind of like, maybe we should like figure out what that should look like or what it means to be a community. Because I've probably said this multiple times, probably here and probably on my streams and all that. Community is the biggest BS word that at least the Protestant Christians use. They like, oh, we're all a community, it's a family. No, stop this crap. If I can still feel uncomfortable in that situation, you're not in a community. I think I've said this before. I think I've talked about this before. That I think that a community, you feel like you're not necessarily wanted in that community, but you feel like you're like you either like that community or you're in that community or like you feel like you're a part of that community. When you leave that community and you feel, oh, I should really go back to that community. Like I want to go and experience it. I want to see it. I want to, oh, I miss that community. Now that's not, a perfect um, way of gauging, but it's a very good one where if you really feel like, oh, I really miss that community. I really want to go back to that community. Then you feel like you're in that community. You feel like you're part of that community. Well, part of that community is weird because then you get into that like accepted section. Like, do you feel accepted? Anyway, but yeah, that's what I feel like. If you can take it or leave it, are you really? Do you really care about that community? And that's another separate aspect. Caring of the community is not necessarily the same thing as like being in the community, being a part of the community, being accepted in the community. That's another thing. So, I mean, I'm not saying, good or bad. I'm just saying, like, it's just a little, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that way, so I don't know. But yeah, go up. Hello? God, that's way too high. Way too high, way too high, way too high. Whoa, go up a little. So yeah, I don't know. No, go down a little. I'm just saying, like, that's what I think, right? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what I don't know. I just think because I was sitting. No, it was the ones that were outside, right? We had two of them outside in the front lawn, right? Because it's summer, we'll do it outside. It's great, right? And I'm sitting in a chair, and I'm just looking at this group of people in front of me, right in front of this, like the steps going into it. There's a table with its coffee and food and all that, right? And I'm just like, I should not exist. Now, let me explain. I shouldn't exist, meaning I, as a person, okay, as a person, shouldn't be in this situation ever, ever, never. There should be people who always want to talk to you. No, because, and my friend made the point. He's like, so it's a community of smaller communities together. It's a community together of smaller communities. And I'm like, yes, yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. And he's only been to two of them, and I've been to 17, something like that, 18, whatever it is. He's just like, he has the same kind of attitude I do, where it's like that kind of defeats the purpose. No, Although, like I was saying, telling him, like, well, could we both come to the conclusion too? It's like, well, we don't exactly know 100% definitively what the like goal of this thing is. It was to bring people together, and I guess, look, if everybody has met at least one other person from a different church, I guess, in theory, that you know that what's it called the goal, the goal is met. I guess, sure. Also, I was also explaining like there's probably some sort of stupid margin of error too, where it's like like 5% of people, 3% of people, 10% of people at most, don't get talked to, whatever. Well, margin of error. We can just leave it, whatever. It's kind of like the justified number, where it's like, what's the minimum number to do something? What's the number that we have to like worry about before we actually make a point about it, right? Before we actually do something about it, before we like have to fix it or whatever. It's like, yeah, I guess, right? It's kind of annoying, but there probably is a number, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's 50% or more, you know. I said to them, there should be net zero, but no, you don't care. So look, I'm not complaining that it's a terrible thing to do. I think it's fine. And like, yes, I've met people, and I've also explained to them like there are the games where you come together and you like, and you could, in theory, see someone you never met. And he was saying, yeah, but there's some people like that who would actively go out in that like whatever 10 seconds of being with that person or whatever 2 minutes of being with the person, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the game, however long the game is or the section of the game is, and would actively meet the person like, hey, I'm gonna do blah blah blah. Yeah, yeah. I have met people like I met a guy in that kind of situation, but like I didn't get to know the guy at all. I know his name and possibly, and I think I know what church he's at. But then again, I don't know anything else about him. so my mother said the same thing. It's like, yeah, sure, because I was in a game with a group of people that I don't know, I didn't know like what 30 to 40% of the people. And I was like, oh great, but the problem was you don't get. And my mother was like, you don't meet people in that situation. Like no, because the only thing I can say, okay, is you make it a point to say something to the effect of you can't sit with your church or you can't sit with your friends. But the problem is you can't tell people what to do. That's the other problem. This isn't like, you know, this isn't youth where you can like make it a thing. This is like they're teenagers. This is adults who would like have a big problem and be like, "No, what are you telling? You can't tell me what to do." Like that's the problem. You can't tell me what to do. And it's like, "No, technically I cannot." So, that's the problem. You can't. So, anyway. But that was not the big problem that I had. I mean, we talked about it longer than we did the other one, but I think I have a bigger problem with the first thing that we talked about last night with my friend, which was, I mean, look, I'm not saying it's terrible, but I'm saying, well, terrible, but there is this weird thing where, so I have to explain. There's a photographer who takes pictures of everything that, you get a nice look, and they post it on, like, Facebook and Instagram, and, it's fine, whatever, sure, show what's happening, what's going on, it's great. But the thing with the photographer is, now, I'm not trying to, uh, oh, woe is me. Where's my picture, right? But me, and there's a select few people, and it's not necessarily the same people, and it's not necessarily the same kinds of people per se, but it is there is like a general like, oh, these people will never get a picture, and I can almost tell who these people are. It's like, okay, yeah, it's the people, and I've almost like naturally figured out, okay, it's these kinds of people because of this and that and whatever. So I'm almost figuring out why. But like, what the heck is going on? And I said to my friend, like, look, okay, but for 17 times, whatever, 18 times, whatever it is now that I've been going, and I'm in like 3 or 4 pictures, 5 pictures, where you could like clearly make out that I'm me, that it's me. What the heck, man? And I'm not saying that I need it, right? I'm just saying like, what the heck? And it's like, and I'm not the only person. There's like a small percent group of people who just have nothing. They just never get a picture. And I was like, why? And my mother said, no, it's the person who's in charge. And I'm like, I think I said no, because you can no. And I said it to my friend too. I'm like, no, that cannot be true because the person actively avoids certain groups of people and certain sections of people and certain types of people. Now, is this person told? Is the photographer told to take pictures of certain people? Is it this? Is it that? Is it the other thing? Sorry, yeah. Is it like, are you told to take certain pictures of people? Is it you're told to take certain pictures? Take pictures of certain kinds of people. Like, make sure they're doing something. Make sure it's candid. Make sure it's good, right? And then she's allowed to make whatever, like, define that or whatever way. I just said her gender. Damn it. I didn't want to do that, but okay, fine, sure. It doesn't matter. You're never going to figure out who this person is. At least I don't think. Anyway, that photographer, it's the photographer's interpretation to make sure it's, or like, she can define what that means. Like what? Because I'm sure it's like this whole thing of like, maybe even it's like an unwritten rule or unspoken thing, and they haven't said it, but like it's very easy to figure out. Like, take a picture of the band, take a picture of the speaker, and take a picture of like the people, and then it's open to interpretation after that. I don't know, right? I don't know what the criteria is. Because I have to ask. Because there's two people to ask, right? There's the person in charge, and there's the photographer. And I think I'm going to muster up the courage to ask the photographer, okay, what is your definition of, or what is your criteria for taking a picture? Like, what do you think of when you're like, okay, I'm going to take a picture. Now I'm going to take a picture. Because you can kind of tell, too, it's like, and it's always like, oh my god, it's on the same angles, and it's the same certain people, and you're like, and then I thought to myself, after I got off talking with my friend, I'm like, wait a sec. Are there these, like, you have to take a picture of these certain people, or these certain people always should be in the picture? Because it works, and it looks cool, and it looks good, And then it doesn't matter who else you will take a picture. You can take a picture of whoever else you want, but make sure these people get their photos taken. Guy in charge, person who's doing the announcement / games, person who's helping the person doing the announcement / games, speaker, band, group picture, and that's it. And technically, you could really go with like 5-6 pictures, and that's it. And that's the other thing too. I don't know how it works because I'm like, no. Because the other thing I say why it's not the person's, it's not the person in charge. It's not the person in charge's fault. Like, it's not just because like they were told not to. Is because if it was up to the person to choose why these people aren't in the picture, right? Which is probably a factor here, but if it was that photographer would take a million pictures of literally everybody, and then just hand it off to the person and say, here, now you decide what you want with these pictures. So there's got to be something between the photographer and the person in charge, both being like told this and then deciding, like the person telling the photographer this and then the photographer deciding this thing. It's got to be, because like you can't tell me that. Because my mother was like, no, I think it's really the person in charge. I'm like, no, it can't be, because you can't. The photographer is actively choosing who to take a picture of and not to take a picture of. I can see it. I know it. And because they're actively choosing, they're not taking a picture of everybody and letting the person in charge decide. Like, that's the thing, right? But then again, I said to my friend, like, yeah, but we also don't know whose pictures those are. So maybe it's like not their pictures, so they can't like do too much with it afterwards. But then again, it's like, yeah, but it can't be. Oh, I don't get it. Like, it can't be that. That doesn't make any sense because it doesn't make any sense because they would take a picture of literally everybody and then they would take literally 10,000 pictures and then have the person decide. And you could almost tell meticulously, like, almost like film photography, where you're like, meticulously choosing, okay, I want this picture, not this one, and that one, and okay, yeah, maybe this one, and it's like, punch me, just smack me, like, and this week this Wednesday is the young adults whatever rally thing, so I'm gonna try and muster up the courage just to see if uh um um what's the word I'm looking for? As long as it's the same photographer, the same person. It's been the same photographer for like 4 months now. 4 or 5 months now. I didn't notice. Well, no, see, because I didn't notice who the photographer was really. I just would notice a person with a camera. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a photographer. But I didn't like register that in my brain. Unless it was the person, somebody I knew, which one time it was. Anyway, but now that it's the same person, I'm like, okay, yeah. So, and I'm not gonna start the conversation with like, I'm not gonna start the conversation with like, hey, why don't you take a picture of me ever? No, but like, I'm 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 gonna do a natural like, hi, who are you? What do you want? Not what do you want? What do you do? Sorry, that kind of stuff, right? What church you from, etc., etc. But then I have to get into this like, don't waste time here. Just get into what is your criteria for taking a picture? Because that's what I want to know. What's your criteria for taking a picture? And then I might go up to the person in charge and be like, hey, what is your criteria for choosing pictures to be taken? Because I'm sure they're like selected too. Because like there are more pictures taken than not taken, and that's the thing too. I just realized because I was thinking to myself because I found Flickr or I remembered Flickr, right? And I remembered like super long ago that one person from my like summer camp would take pictures and dump them on Flickr, right? And um and I was like, oh yeah, can I find that again? So I download the app and I like, oh yeah, here it is. Here's exactly what I'm looking for, right? Great. And I just realized, why would somebody ever use Flickr today? But I think people use Flickr because I'm like, why would you use Flickr rather than something like Instagram, right? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, you could probably dump like a million pictures. Instagram only lets you post 10 pictures in a post, which is fair, I guess. I don't know. It takes up a lot of bandwidth. I don't know. I don't know if that like takes up a lot of storage bandwidth. I don't know, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but and Flickr probably lets you dump a lot. Okay, anyway, because you could use Flickr or something like Flickr, or although that's a Flickr Pro account, so I don't know if it's expensive. Like I couldn't tell you if it's really expensive or not. It may be stupid expensive. I have no idea, right? Not stupid expensive, but like impractically expensive. Like, nah, that's just impractical and that's stupid and it doesn't make sense for their use case. Because, well, also with Flickr, you could dump them as like just like all the photos and this and that, not really edit them and not really look at them, not really do anything with them, which is fine. But like, yeah. So yeah, I'm like, why don't you just do that? I could bring it up to someone. I just set a reminder. Okay, Google, set a reminder for this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Set a reminder for this Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Got it. On Wednesday at 7 p.m. What's the title?
Flickr.
Okay, I'll remind you on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Thank you. I'll see. Because I don't know. Because you could have like the like curated pictures on Instagram, and then you could have like uh, the raw photos all on Flickr, right? Although I don't know if you get like a limit if you're not using Flickr Pro. I don't know. So I don't know Pro. I've never looked at the Pro version. So because it's the best, as far as I can tell, it's the best place to like just dump pictures, or at least it's the one I know of. Maybe there's like other places. I mean, in theory, you could like have a. I don't know why you would do this. This is kind of stupid, but you could have like a folder and on like a cloud server, and then just send the link. But why would you do that? That's kind of dumb. But okay. Anyway, yeah. So what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but then I realized. Wait, I just realized. But they get donations and money, so maybe they could, in theory, pay for. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, pay for it or justify it or have someone compensate. I don't know. Some place. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying it's weird how the photographer actively. No, because I know because I've seen her like literally walk like around me or people like me where it's like, but and like, oh no, I can't take like almost like in their head like, oh, can't take a picture of you, like, oh, or maybe not necessarily can't, but like I'm not supposed to take a picture of you, right? Oh, I'm not supposed to take a picture of you. Okay, got it. Or you're the kind of person that falls under the category of like I shouldn't take a picture of you. I have to go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, I just thought while I was in the bathroom, I was like, wait a sec. Yeah, but what also happens here? Well, I said ostracization just happens naturally with those groups of people, which is terrible. It's horrible. But whatever. What are you gonna do with that? That one's like, well, okay, fine. The authorization thing's like that naturally happens. So there will be people that people never meet. I don't know. Anyway, but the other thing I was thinking of was like, no. The other stupid thing about it is about the photographer is it's not just the one photographer. It's every single photographer that I've seen. And there's been like what 3 or 4 photographers, maybe five, 4, 5 photographers since this thing inception. What the heck, man? Like it makes no sense to me in the sense that like, well, wait a sec. Like it's not this person specifically choosing that. It's been all the photographers. So it's got to be a mixture of them choosing what they deem to be pictures they should take and being told. And my mother made the point though, it was like, yeah, the person could be actively told, do not take pictures of these people. Or she was kind of skeptical actually. Now that I remember it, she was actually kind of skeptical. My mother, she was like, I don't know if that's exactly what happens, but it's totally possible. And I went, but that's so stupid. And my brother made the point. He's like, he just had this look like Mickey Mouse hands in face like Mickey Mouse face palm hands in face like, or no 2 hands in the face like, oh yeah, it sucks, but he also had this kind of attitude like, well, why do you care? Right? Because we were talking about it at dinner one time. I was like, why do you care? And I was like, that's why I said. That's why I had to clarify. It's like, no, I'm not saying this to woe is me. I'm saying that there is a group of people, including myself, that just never get the same kind of pictures that everybody else does. But then again, okay, that's not the stupidest thing because, or that's not the only place that's happened too. We used to do, or we still do, but I used to go to a young, to a youth group, so a teenager um fall retreat, right? At the same summer camp, right? At the same summer camp I used to go to, right? So they did one in the fall, just like the last thing they do before it gets too cold and whatever, right? And they used to make a video, right? They used to make a video, and so because they used to make a video, I'd always look and be like, okay, where am I? Right? Oh, where am I? Where's right? Where am I? Right? I could never find myself. Never. It was stupid, but okay. So it's not the only place. And then I was like, okay, this is stupid. Because you know what is stupid about it? You know what's stupid about it? It was when they would actively point the camera at you and then choose, like actively choose to like, nah, forget it. I'm not gonna use that photo, which is fine. Because the guy, that same videographer, explained to me, or was explaining. Well, we were making like a video for fun during a winter retreat that we were having at the same summer camp, and I'm sorry, um, camp, and he was explaining. I was explaining because I think I said something to the effect like to my friend because it was on my phone with using my storage, and I was like, "Come on, man, what the heck, man?" And then it was just like, "Oh no, you're going to use." I think he said 400% more either videos or more. like amount of time or hours or something or more minutes, whatever, of footage than you're ever gonna use. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And so there, it's at least a little bit like, well, he figured out, or he looked at like how the video was going to be made, or the other thing is, he wasn't even. I think it was because he wasn't editing that video, so it wasn't his choice. Like, it wasn't his choice to like um exclude or what's the, all these words I don't want to use that are like on the tip of my tongue or in my brain, and I'm like, I know I want to use this word, I don't remember what the word is I'm trying to use. Anyway, it was not his doing, his choosing to exclude certain things. He wasn't editing that video, so at least from what I remember. So maybe like so there's like okay, that's the other thing. It falls again under that category of like, well, wait a sec. So the person in charge of the pictures or the videos are deciding what's what should go where. It's like which it's kind of dumb, but whatever. What are you gonna do, right? So I don't blame that guy. I was kind of mad that I realized, oh wait, it's not his doing, really. Let's be like on like now that I'm thinking about it, it's not his doing. It's like, oh, okay, fine. You know, that one's fine. But no, it's the photographer and it's the person in charge at these young adult rallies. Excuse me. That choose because it's both never taking a picture of that person and then actively selecting what you want. Look, it's fine. I don't personally give a hoot exactly. I'd like one or two pictures that like clearly show. So I'm going to try and actively do something. The problem is I don't have a friend that I can always be talking to, so it looks like I have a conversation. So it looks like there's like an candid, active, whatever. No. The other stupid thing is that's bullcrap. Also, I just realized that's bullcrap because I've seen the person walk up to people and be like, "Hey, we'd like a picture. Take a picture like this. Come together." So, never mind. Although it was with another person, so therefore I do have to probably try and find some person to talk to so I can like actually look candid. I guess. I guess the whole thing to me is I'm assuming I'm guessing educated guess, but it's an educated guess based on what I can see, but it's still a guess and it's an assumption that that you probably really want candid photos. So me sitting in a chair doesn't work. But that represents what's going on. I don't. Do you want a real representation? Do you want an edited representation? That's the other problem too. Do you want a clean and like, oh look, he looks so great. There's nobody that has problems. It's our community. Which is probably what happens. They like either consciously or subconsciously, like without thinking, like do it in that way where it's like, oh, I want it, pristine, edited, and prim and proper, so it looks, which is a bunch of horse hockey, man. Come on. You need the reality of what's actually going on. But hey, it's not my doing. I'm not choosing this. It's not my doing. If I was in charge, I would do other things. Because that's the other thing too. I don't 100% know if does the photographer get to choose what pictures get shown. Probably not. I'm 99% sure. No. Does the photographer get to do anything with the photos beforehand? I guess they could. I guess the photographer could. Because you're not going to get it immediately, I'm sure. That same night or day after, right? But then it's also like, and so if it's not, then it's all up to this person in charge. So I don't know. I'm just saying it's really wacky and weird, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Because it's like, oh, I don't get it. So I'm going to do like a experiment and see. I'm going to try and find someone to talk to, or I'll be in like a game or something. I'll be in like because some people play like board games on tables and whatnot. So I'll see if I can get into one of those maybe, depending on what the game is, obviously, because I don't want to play certain games. But I'll try. See, I'll see. I'll see. I'll make an experiment. I'll see. And if it's still not, then they're actively choosing to not take pictures of me. I'm sorry. I'll do two things. I'll ask the photographer, and um I'll try and see by at least checking, seeing my criterias are correct, if my hypotheses are correct, where it's like it's candid, it's you got to look like like you're talking to someone, like conversing and socializing, and you have to, look like you're doing, so like there's a reason to take a picture of it. I am the guy who'll stand there and wait for someone to come to me, because like that's the thing. I said to my friends like, so how did you like? I think he asked some sort of question like, well, how did you like uh meet people? And I was like, I stood there, and people came to me. So I've never gone up to anybody ever. And he like, I know I could tell, because this is only a audio conversation. This is on Discord. So it's like I could tell that I could picture the face that he's making, where it's like, oh well, that's no. You should really go up to people, but that's not me. That's not me. I will never. That's the thing. I used to have it on my as my what do you call it, bio on Instagram. It was something like, no, sorry, that's the different bio. The bio used to say, only real friends know the real me. That's not, only true friends know the real me, or something. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, it used to be, I think I have it here even. It's like something to the effect of, let me see if I can find it because I wrote it down. I know it was like something to the effect of, oh, I'm not a social person. I will never be the person who walks into a party and talks to everybody. Like, I'll never. No, I don't think of this one. It's one of those quotes of some kind, or like pick up conversation starters. No. Anyway, what was the one I'm looking for now? I don't know. I don't even know if I have it. Oh, I might not have it here. But it was something to the effect of like, I will never walk into a party and go around and talk to everybody. Never, never, never. Which you could argue, well, why are you even at the party then? Which is fair. But then I also made the point to my friend, because I was going to say, you've turned into this the soul thing you swore to destroy, the Star Wars Episode 3 quote, and he like laughed and was like, yeah, that's true, which is fair. That's what happens. It was like, it was that stupid like, no, they did, because if you're starting it with, we want to be a community, and then you make and there's big ostracizations, conscious or unconscious or subconsciously. Either way, you have turned into the sole thing you swore to destroy. You wanted to make communities, and you've made your own oscillations of communities. But then again, like I said, I don't care. I don't. It doesn't matter what it is. Whether it was the old youth rallies we used to go to, or it was the fall retreats, or it was even the summer camp. Community is the most bullcrap word, bullshit word that Protestant Christians use. It's community, family, and fellowship. Now, fellowship, that's one of those Christian terms, like in a season. That's like a very like highly, you can interpret it whatever way you want. Interpretable, like, oh, you can define it however you like, or interpret it whatever you like. Fellowship does not necessarily mean family. Fellowship just means like come together as a group of brothers and sisters in Christ, Christians, right? So, and that's like, I don't know. That's a very like interpretable. You can interpret it whatever you want. But the other two are very like a family, like, and family can be that too, but and community can also be interpreted. But like, those are more like, well, what is that like? Community. a community rather than a fellowship of, I don't know, it's hard to think of, cause like it's just like, no, that's stupid. Stop saying that. Stop saying that and not fixing problems that you know exist. Like, okay, I tried to explain to the pastor of my previous church when he was bringing up the idea of these dinners that we're having now. I don't know if I should share this, but I'm going to do it anyway. That I was explaining to them, there will be ostracization. There will be. I'm not trying to tell you that you should like be cautious of this or like, oh, maybe you should watch and oh no, this and that. No, I'm trying to tell you that there will be, definitively, there will be. Because like I've been around. I've been here longer than he has. Because he's a new pastor. I've been around like 2, 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, just about, or 1 year and a half, 2 years. No, 3, 2.5. Anyway, and it's like, yeah, but right, that no, I'm sorry, I'm telling you how it's going. And there's another person who, too. She was explaining like, no, this is what's going to happen. How are you going to stop this from happening? Not how are you going to make sure this doesn't happen. No, it's how are you going to stop this from happening because you know this will happen. And it's like, and I think she's figured out that yeah, I this is stupid and I don't need this, which is the dinners and whatever part of it. Because then afterwards we do our young adults at around 8:30, which is stupid. I don't understand it. It just makes no sense. But anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into this. I'm just saying like, which is the thing. It's like when something new starts, right? I should figure out who the person in charge is, long as I can get in contact with these people, and depends on the relationship I have with these people. The purple in charge, but I should try and find the person who's in charge, and then just be like, yo, how are you going to stop ostracization? Not how are you going to make sure there's no ostracization. How are you going to make sure that like, no. How are you going to stop the ostracization that will inevitably happen? How are you going to do that? Because games, that doesn't work. And obviously, you can't force people to talk to everybody. And obviously, that whole thing of like, go meet new people, go at a table. It's like, yeah, but the problem is we're adults. That's the problem. And so you can't say to the adult, you have to talk, or you can't sit with people you want to sit with. That's the other problem, right? So, which, okay, fine, sure. You have to, like, also, you have to try and find a natural way of doing it, too, so that it doesn't feel weird, awkward, forced, that kind of stuff. Because that's a problem. The games where you have to meet with people and, like, find out about them or some, I don't know. Right? It's like a weird, like, I don't know, it just doesn't work well. It's strange and dumb and, anyway, like, I don't know. There's got to be a way, though, to stop ostracization. There's got to be a way to, like, make, I guess the way you could do it is the leader could do some sort of like go around meeting people and then like grab 1 or 2 people from each group and pull them with them and be like, hey, I'll get someone to meet oh, I'll meet this guy, and then like problem with that is I hate that situation too because I've said to my mother because it happened to me once. The person and it naturally died and like we didn't even meet each other and it was like no, we're done. Cause like no, but it was this whole like come to our table, yeah, and I knew the one person, but I didn't really know anybody else. And that one person leaves, goes to a different table. I'm like, and then naturally I'm like, no, I have to leave this because I don't know who you are, and no offense, but like, right? So that's the problem. Please, if the leader's going to do that, at least stay for like enough time for it naturally to like so you can naturally leave and be like, okay, I'm going to naturally leave and it'll be great, or it's going to be fine. Like it'll be okay. Like it's at a point where the conversation doesn't actually come to like a. Don't do the weird thing where you like shove 2 people in front of each other, and also especially dependent on the gender, especially if it's the opposite gender, like opposite sex. Oh, never, please never do that. That is the worst. That is the worst. Don't shove two people of the opposite genders together and then make them converse, because you'll be like, it'll be so damn awkward. If I naturally come up to you, or she naturally comes up to me, or right, that's a whole different story. But don't shove two people together and of the opposite sex, please, and expect them to like converse and like meet each other. Please don't. That's where the sexual tension will never die. I'm sorry, it'll be like that weird like it may work, but please, that is the worst idea. At least stay with the person, please. Whether it's the same gender or opposite gender, just stay with the person for at least a normal amount of time. Because it's not like, not that you have to like run away to do stuff. Also, that's the other thing. No offense. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this right now. The person in charge, okay, of this thing, no offense, goes around looking like they're busy doing things. I can tell you right now that they could, or they could just, they could be doing these other things that I'm suggesting, or they could rearrange everything to make it that they do these things. Come on, go give somebody else some job that because that's the thing. That's the thing. It's the same thing that my brother said about the person who used to be in charge. So the director of the camp, of the summer camp, right? Right. That the head director, lead director, whatever you want to call it, general director. That's it. The general director of the camp once made a point. He's like, because what happened was, or what the thing was, it was I think Matthew asking, or didn't want to do that. My brother asking. Sorry. Whatever. You never got to figure out who it is. But anyway, my brother asking like, either asking or being told like how to run a week. Because you do these things where like you have a theme for a week, and then somebody runs that week with a theme. Harry Potter, not Harry Potter. I was going to say Harry Potter. No, more like Star Wars, or Willy Wonka, or Lord of the Rings, or Narnia, or Alice in Wonderland. Something like that. Anyway, dinosaurs, or that could be a controversial one actually. But anyway, we did have that. Anyway, and the person made the point of, to run a good week is you get people to do the things that you could do. You go do the things that these people can't do, or shouldn't do, or go do the things that you should be doing, rather than, because like I think you're making the point of like, why about someone where it's like, why is they doing any of this? Why are they doing any of this? What? Stop, please. Because you made the point like, no, you designate everybody else to do the things you can't do, or you make sure you do the things that you should be doing. It's like, go meeting the people, go doing with the stuff, conversing, whatever. Like, that's a stupid thing about the what's it called? Now, I don't know if this person actually did that. They may have, but the fall retreats that we used to have at the same summer camp, when my brother was the assistant director for that weekend, right? He went around. Now, I don't know how in depth he went with any of this, but he definitely went around to. I'm pretty sure he went around to every cabin and just met people. Hey, hi, hey guys, what's it on? What's going on? Whatever. Because he went to our cabin. I know that. Anyway, my cabin. So now I don't know if the new guy did that, but the new guy is seeing the last one that I was at. I knew the guy who was assistant director, and so it's like, definitely bad way to do this. Definitely, because it's like, she's sitting behind the table the whole week. Now I wasn't watching like 24/7 to make sure that he was meeting with every child, but he was definitely um sitting behind. He was definitely sitting behind a desk doing projection or something, or sound or something. And it's like, what are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. You should be with the freaking people. What is going on? What the fuck? Like, what the actual F? And that's the other thing. It's the same kind of thing. The person in charge of the young adults rally shouldn't be doing certain things. Never be sitting behind the counter making coffee. Explain to the person who's going to make coffee how to make the coffee with your whatever coffee machine. But don't, espresso machine, whatever. But don't stand there and be like, oh, I got to do this all night. Why? Which, right? See, they haven't had that problem. but a lot of like Christian places fall under that. Like it's a show, because like that's the thing. So my brother was making the point when he was making the point for the uh, fall retreat that it was like, what do I care about? Do I care about lights and smoke, fog machines, and garbage like that? And garbage in his eyes because like he doesn't care. It's just stupid. Or do I care about the counselor walking up to me and talking to me about Jesus, or at least talking to me? Yeah, I care about that. Right? That's what I care about. And he's like, and I'm sure a lot of people would care about that too. And he's like, a majority of people, maybe most people, you know, because he was a camper the first one of those, and then for the subsequent ones he worked there. But yes, and so yeah, it's like that's a slightly different problem that the Christians have, where it's like, oh, let's make it look really cool. Let's spend $1 billion on our church because that's what's gonna bring people to Jesus. Like, no. Yeah, you might get the like young people, the youth and the young people, the kids, right? But I don't know. I just think that's where it gets stupid and like whatever. It's cool and all, but you've really got to find a way to get Jesus. Anyway, that's not necessarily directly connected to the other things, but it is indirectly in the sense that let's worry about that rather than talking to the people and stopping authorization and all that kind of stuff. Look, I don't understand authorization. Now, yeah, there's that whole social thing where you're not really good socially. You don't know how to approach people. Because I also read the thing that I posted about 2 months ago, where it's like 250 conversation starters, and I read like the first like maybe 20, and I went, these are all terrible. These are all terrible because they're either super shallow, way too deep, or just a stupid question, or a question where it's like, well, how do you go forward from that? How are you supposed to go forward from that? It was things like, you know, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite TV show? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What did you like to do as a child? What were you into as a child? What app have you used lately? It's like, sure, but how do you go forward from that? You need that conversation starter thing, I believe. Yeah, sure. Or because that's what my friend said. He's like, oh no, you have to find that like weird thing that you're going to be like, oh yeah, that thing, that pin on your shirt, or that pin on your jacket, or that pin on your bag. Oh yeah, yeah, I like that. Cool. Where'd you get it? Blah blah. Or something that like can grab and like start a conversation. Like, oh, photography. Oh, I love like I'd love to start the conversation with the person and say, hey, photography. I love photography. I'd love to get into photography. How much? Like, I'd love to just get all the details too. Where it's like, how much did you pay for your camera, and how did you get this, and how did you get in, and how do you know how to take a picture photo? I want to say this right now. I know I'm going really long, almost freaking almost be 2 hours, but I'm sure. But which is fine, I guess. I don't know, but photography is one of those things that everybody. Oh my god, everybody and their mother thinks they freaking can be a photographer. It's two things that everybody thinks, or three things. Three things. Everybody's got a damn podcast, which I mean, even I have a podcast, so what am I to say? But it's lost in a sea of these podcasts that just kind of like whatever, fine, right? And the podcast thing, I don't have a huge problem with. Okay, sure, you're gonna get lost in the sea of in the annals of the internet. So unless you're Joe Rogan or those kind of people, you're gonna get lost, right? And you're not gonna get like a super big audience, like a crazy audience. My best month was 20 people, so listening. So anyway, there's that. So there's podcasters. So everybody thinks they can make a podcast. Then everybody thinks they can be a musician. I've made music. They're all beats. Fine enough. I don't know. I haven't put lyrics to any of these yet. I love to make music, but and I guess music is a different thing because it's a more like, oh, I love that person. I love that sound. So it's a more personal thing. You can like discoverability is a different story, but definitely it can be whatever grabbed and you can find it and you can like it. It's. And the third thing is photographer. Everybody, so many people think they could be a damn photographer. God, I know. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I probably know 10 photographers. I'm not even joking. Because photography can be at the exact it can be exact same time. It can be easy. Some feel like the easiest thing ever, while being the hardest thing ever. The easiest thing ever while being the hardest thing ever. Because like taking a photo, and I guess that's where it, like falls under the category of like. And what I mean by photographer is not the guy who walks around with and every so often takes a photo with their camera with their phone, or even like actively all the time like takes photos of their with their phone. No, I'm talking about the guy who's holding a DSLR or a mirrorless camera and are like actively taking photos and like choosing and meticulously and like knowing what they're doing, quote unquote knowing and reverse air brackets, whatever, right? Reverse gradations, whatever, right? That's the kind of person I'm talking about. And like, there's so many. I'm thinking right now. One, two, three, four, say five, six. I don't know if it's seven, maybe. I can think of 7 or 8 people right now that are like photographers. It's like, oh my god. Not that that's like a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just like, wow. Everybody thinks they can be. Which and how do people all afford all these cameras? They're not cheap. Although you probably got them all used. To be honest with you, all these people probably got them used because they're not stupid. That's the other problem. That first getting into a camera is like, holy flip. And if you break it down far enough, you can probably find the people who will tell you, look, okay? Because there's always like those people where they're like, no, this one, that one, this one, that one, this one's better than that one. Depends what you want to do, this, that, the other thing. But there's probably those people who think and say to you, except for a few very small criterias, it doesn't really matter what camera you use. Because I once asked on a, oh yeah, definitely going to be a really long episode. But I did ask on a Discord for film photography. I said every time I see a review of certain films, right, they never really explain what camera they use. And some people, I'm talking like YouTube videos, and some people will explain. They'll be like, they'll make like a either a thing at the beginning of a one certain video, or make like a certain video and be like very short, whatever, like just a like a little thing saying, okay, look, I'm gonna use this camera every time I take a photo, so that you like know. Because I asked, so then does the camera really matter? And they're like, not particularly. I mean, the SLR, if you're going to like change lenses, sure, maybe. And even there, it's like even that's like not the hugest thing that'll change things. The film is really the like big thing, and it would change whether it's a point and shoot, rangefinder, or SLR. That's really your big like differences. And yeah, they make a difference, but are they huge and big and like does it make no? So you can probably find those people who say stuff like it doesn't really matter what camera you use, and depending on certain very small criterias, it really doesn't matter what camera you use. So I don't know. Just that's I'm like everybody and their mother is a damn photographer. I would love to be a photographer, but like for what? Why? How? Who? What? To do something, I guess, at there. Because that's the other thing. The only way that you could truly fix that problem is to become the photographer at that thing. And that's a problem. I thought to myself, but I don't have a camera. I just don't. I don't, and I don't 100% know how to actually use a camera, which is that's my problem too. I want to get into things, and then I want the easy way to learn stuff, and it's like no, people come to me and they're like, no, you have to learn the real way, stupid. I'm like, fair enough. Because just because you, yeah, I was gonna say like, no, like this looks like a good picture, doesn't mean it's a good picture. Doesn't mean it's usable. I don't know. I'm just saying like, it's like, just stupid. Yeah. Also, oh my gosh. Wow. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So personally, I'm just like whatever. Look, okay. I don't really care at this point. I don't know. I'm just saying like, I'd love to be a photographer. So because I was looking at the person the first, I think it was the first month that she was the photographer, and I looked. I'm like, I really want a real digital camera. And I've asked people before, and they're like, and because I said, because for a new camera, they were like, yeah, you should have $1,000. And I said, okay, well, what about a like a but even used? And they're like, well, you should probably have about $1,000 just so that you could like probably get a body and a lens. And I was like, oh, okay. I said even used. Like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. $1,000 to a body and a lens. I'm like, okay, great. Okay, fine. I got it. I get it now. Which is that's the thing, right? I'd love to get a camera. And I was looking at like asking people what's a good camera, what do people, and that was kind of the first time, yeah, few times I was looking at this, I kind of based it off of what I saw people using, and I was like, okay, do you like it? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it this? Is it that? Is it what? It's like, yeah, it's what kind of picture you want to be taking, and what ecosystem you want to be in, and that kind of stuff, and what's your like outcome. Because I've asked people I know, a few people I know, like what cameras do you use and what this and what that, and it's like it is a bunch of like, do you like the camera? It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a camera. I mean, sure. It's like, what, like, you know what I mean? Like, again, if you really break it down, you probably find the people who say stuff like, yeah, it doesn't, like, it really, truly, if you break it down far enough, doesn't really matter what camera you use. It's what media you want to be shooting on. It's what quality you would like. It's what your result would like to be, and it's what your ecosystem probably. Those are probably the criterias, right? Probably. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, everybody and their mother. Gosh, this is a photographer. Which, not hard to. And photography is one of those things. Like I said, that is like the easiest thing ever. Well, it's the hardest thing in the world. Because like, also getting into photography is like, whoa, like breaking that first like, wait, how do you do this? Wait, huh? What? How do? Whoa, what? Huh? How do you do this? Wait, what? It's one of the most complicated things ever. It's one of those like, you need to know. Basically, you need to know like, it's like a magical thing where it's like you just know, like a computer. It's like, oh my god, it's insane. And then it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how this really works, but this is what you do. So anyway, I'm just saying. Hey, if you know any good cameras, I want a camera with a lens for about $500. But I've been told you're probably not gonna find that. Which is like I'm like, fair enough. Which is fair. What are you gonna right? Which is fair, I guess. I can see that when I've been looking at. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Even used, still people still sold their bodies. And then if you know like, can you please explain to me like how old is too old, right? How far back is too far back, right? Because to me it's like, well, how far like because when I was first looking this up, I was thinking of Canon T3i, and then people were like, why would you ever buy that? And I'm like, really? And it's not that it's a bad camera; it's that we've that camera technology has progressed so it's further past that like that seems like you know ancient. You know, it's like saying, oh, I'll use a Samsung Galaxy S3 because hey, or I'll use like a I don't know stupid old and Droid 2 Turbo. Yeah, no, sorry, that's ridiculous. That's terrible. So I'm just saying that I'm just saying that, or I'm like I just want to know like what's a good like how far is too far back, right? Because people were telling me things like you're not gonna need 4K like you think you will. I also wanted a flip up screen or a screen I can turn around, and they're like, you're not gonna need it as much you think you do. You're not gonna use it as much you think you do. Don't get caught up on these little things like, oh, I want 4K, and because that's the thing, right? If you want 4K, what the hell are you doing? Like, you need to know whether your computer can handle 4K. Because what's the point? And I can tell you right now, my computer probably almost out of shot over that cannot support 4K. It's a GTX 660, not a Ti. It's a 2 gigs of VRAM. No, you're not. I was telling my friends, I'm like, yeah, my computer Because I was talking to a friend about something else where he was watching somebody like render something and it was just going ridiculous. It was like incrementally so slowly climbing up in percentage for rendering a video, and I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, oh wow, and then I was like, yeah, well, mine can take 4, 8 hours depending on the video, and he's like, yeah, that depends on your hardware, and I'm like, yeah, it's fair. So yeah. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I have to probably get a new GPU. I don't know what GPU to get because they're all still stupid expensive. They're getting better. You can get like 1080s and 20 series, 16 series. Not too bad. Like they're not like incredibly ridiculously expensive, but yeah. But what were they gonna say? What were they saying about that? Right. Oh yeah, so cameras. It's like yeah. So anyway, I also like a film SLR, but I'm also gonna probably spend the same amount of money on a film SLR as I would on a digital SLR, and I'm fine with the cameras I have. I have a Minolta Hymatic S7 and S7 II. They're fine for me. They're good enough for me. I have a, and then the other one I like is my Ricoh AF5. So I mean, so I'm okay with that kind of stuff. So, but like anyway, yeah, I gotta end here because it's gonna be really long. But I'm just saying, like, so if you know any good like cameras that you would recommend, I'll take in consideration. Please tell me because I'd love to get one day. Because somebody else was telling me, one of the other photographers I know was telling me, came back from camp, from her camp, different summer camp, and was like, I can never go back to a smartphone photography ever. What? Because once you see real photography and like, wow, that is incredible, and then all the little things you can do with it, bokehs and fisheyes and wide angles and all these things that like phones just, and all the little things that apertures and things just phones just can't do, low lights, all that stuff. What's the point? Like, this is, but it does fall into that category of a thing that people say where it's like the best camera is the camera you have on you. That's why so many people, so many people, I'm tell you, still have all their like ridiculously terrible potato quality photos and videos because like that because it was taken because you have them because they were captured. Like um the Ape guy made a video one time of this really just obscure, not super obscure, but like this random middle of camera. So between like film and like smartphones, there was this weird like point in time where it was like they have all these like digital, whether they're video or film camera, video or photo cameras, right? These like point and shoot, really terrible. I have one of them. It's a Kodak. I was in one of those Easy Share. I don't remember the model number, but it's that exact generic, like very plastic, probably highly chromated, just like it's not good quality, but it's fine. And so, what was I gonna say? Yeah, and so he was making the point that like, yeah, all these things I would never have had these things taken. He also made a point where he made a different video where he was talking about like the webcam, where he used that webcam and taking all these photos. You know, like the first one of the first webcams. Like, yeah, no, yeah. So like that's the thing. The best camera is the camera you have on you. Because I took a picture with my old with a zoom no Fuji DL1000 zoom. I may have messed with the lens up a bit because I like had my finger like and it started to like grind the gears. I didn't notice it and it's like, oh, I heard it. I'm like, oh, that's bad. That could be why the it didn't turn out great. But then the film was also expired, which could be a problem. And also there might be like a light seal I could have had to like fix or light leakage or. But that's the thing. There wasn't the typical light leakage where it's just like a line of light. So I don't know. It just wasn't. Although it just wasn't in focus. Nothing was like truly crisply in focus. But the Ricoh AF5 was like the best photos I had taken. Although I did take 5 photos that cost me 5 rolls, 4 rolls, sorry, that cost me a stupid amount of money. Oh, you don't even want to know how much I spent on them, and they all turned out like crap because I didn't realize that auto only works with the battery in. Because stupid me didn't read the manual because I was an idiot, and then I read the manual and went, oh, okay, yeah, no. And now I know. And that's the other stupid thing. People were telling me, go get a light meter and and use a light meter app, and just figured, oh, I'm like, anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I'm stupid. Now I have the light meter, and I'm going to use it every time I use the camera. I'm planning on going to Ottawa with my young adults group for Remembrance Day, which is going to be really cool, I have to say. I've never been to the Remembrance Day ceremony in Ottawa, because on the November 11th in Canada, we have Remembrance Day, and it's really cool. It's really interesting, and I've watched it on TV my whole life, and everybody I've talked to is like, yeah, I've watched it on TV, and they're like, so I asked them, like, hey, would you want to go to the actual physical ceremony? And they're like, and some people were like, yeah, I'd go. And so we got 6 or so people going, including myself, which is cool. It's going to be great. And so I'm going to try and take pictures there. Problem there is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, set the right settings, like, on the fly. Probably be fine, but I'm just saying, Anyway, what were they saying? Or what were they going to say? Yeah, so, like, yeah, so I'll try that, and maybe I'll, like, and hey, if you want to actually, okay, I just realized, I was going to say, maybe I'll show you somehow, but I realize this is an audio only. So, but go to my Instagram, which is vulture54, Instagram.com/vulture54 on Instagram, vulture54, and you can see my the results of these kind of things. I already have a few of them. I already have a few of the like rolls, the first few rolls, and then like there's some other rolls, and the better rolls like the what's it called? Because the AF1. So I don't know if it's the AF5. Sorry, the Rico. So I don't know if it's like a really good. So I don't know what the correct thing is. Is it like? Is it what was I gonna say? Is it the film? Is it the camera? Is it the circumstance? Is it like me not knowing the settings? Me not knowing what? I think also may have set the Rico at a certain point to um the wrong ISO. So okay, this is gonna be really long. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so like I think I may have set it to 200 instead of 400. So it's being processed one step above, which is why it probably doesn't. The color is not the greatest. I mean, it's the best camera I've used so far, but that's because the other cameras I didn't. The 100% manuals, the not point and shoots are, um, I didn't have the right settings. So I'll try and set the right settings this time. So like the next time I use them, because the camera I'm using right now, which I probably shouldn't be using, just considering APS film is like garbage, basically in comparison. Which I heard. I don't know if that's 100% true, because I have I actually have quite a lot of photos of APS photos that actually turn out decent. Now they're not good per se, but they're decent. They're fine. It's these people who look at it and go, well, why would you use that when you're gonna have better? I have a Kodak Advantex 4100 IX zoom. So it's APS, so it's gonna turn out not even close to as good, but yeah, it's gonna work. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so what was I gonna say? Yeah, so and I think the next camera I'm also gonna try this. There's another Fuji camera I have here. Oh, the other problem with okay, the other problem with the Fuji DL100 zoom is, or DL1000 zoom is, I have to hold the thing closed with because the latch is broken, so I have to hold the thing closed with electrical tape, and so I think the pressure might be wrong. Also, why it's not like focusing properly. Plus the thing with that happened with the lens, the whole anyway. So yeah, so I might try the other Fuji I have, which also has to be held closed with electrical tape because the latch is also broken. But that uses a weird um 223A battery, and I know a place that can I can get the battery from. It's one of those things where I don't know if they'll still hold the one battery they have or the battery they have out of the package, so I can try and make sure it works on my camera. So because I don't know if the camera even works, I don't want to buy it because $10 for a battery is kind of insane. But whatever. I paid $6 each for two CR123s, which went into the Fuji and is now in the one of them is now in the Kodak. So I don't know, but and that seems like a lot. That seems like a lot, but I don't know. I know they have them at the dollar store, so I'll get them there probably next time. But yeah, but then again, I'm probably gonna never. These things are probably gonna last freaking the rest of my life, probably. Just in the like unless they leak somehow, like they're the wrong environment. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm gonna end now, just so I don't go for like freaking billion years. But yeah, so I'm gonna see those cameras. So check out my Instagram probably within the next month to see the results of maybe a month and a half, the results of the film stuff, or go look at some of the film stuff I've already done. So I have some posts that say this is film and that's film and whatever. But yeah, what was I gonna say? So yeah, I think it's gonna be it for now, guys. So if you want to get in touch with me, if you want to, questions, comments, concerns, there's the email, which is taco imposters at gmail.com. That's tacoimposters at gmail.com. There's the two Discords, and then there's the Patreon, which is patreon.com/capital W, lowercase ing, capital W, lowercase ONG. I think that's going to be it for now, guys. So, adios, mi amigos.